That one and set below.
Oh, I love that.
Now elevated again, but Friday night at the local restaurant, she has the same seat in the corner. It's like, that's 20 years of being in charge of this town.
Thursday.
And she told me what yeah, she went to North Kingston and that worked retired after 30 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know that, but I passed that on if you happen to know that.
I might, but sometimes I just know by face.
Ready? Okay. All right, so I'd like to call the March 19th, 2020. Planning board meeting to order. We'll start with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Kathleen Pelisier,
Michael Jermaine, Travis Nama,
Ryan Brody.
Caitlin Sheridan.
Chad Pellisier.
also got Arsenal,
Right now, National Building Inspector, Code Enforcement.
Matt Monahan.
Matt knows about it.
So we can hear you now.
Hey everyone,
How you doing?
not
Yeah.
bad. How about you?
Yes,
Andrew Sherber.
I'm Sherman is the applicant for tonight's case.
Okay.
All right, so Mr. Chairman or Vice Chairman for tonight. You have 4 members of your board, so you can ask for an alternate if you want tonight. That would be Ron's term for this evening.
Okay.
So you're gonna have one to join as a
Yes,
member.
we need a motion for that.
No. Very good. All right, so just real quickly under old business, we talked about opportunity fee schedule last time around. We're still working on getting some additional information. Let's table that until we have everything we need and then talk about it again. Okay, thank you. All right. On new business tonight. We have case number PB 01-2025. It's a request for waiver from site plan review for Northeast Planet Inc. The rest is still actually to be determined, I believe.
Yeah, it's to be determined, yes.
But it is tax map 410 lot 26. The applicant currently operates a granite products business at the location and now requests a waiver from site plan review to construct a 40 by 40 foot long steel frame and sided building with 2 14 foot by 14 foot garage doors and 2 entry doors to really put the whole year round operations. And this business is currently located in the space and farming zone. So with that, Mr. Chairman, if you're okay, we'll have to refer on to grant his application. His reasons for why he believes he qualifies for a waiver from site plan review.
Good to meet.
Excellent, very good. We've owned the quarry, it's been. It's not, I mean, we're not just all of a sudden developing granite quarries. This granite quarry was established in 1870. It ran until about 1934 until the depression and the introduction of concrete and steel kind of took the business away from them. The quarry itself is probably one of the best and little known quarries in New Hampshire. It was one of the very first drive-in quarries. Charles Bailey, who started this, was a visionary, where most of the quarries you think of in New Hampshire are just a hole in the ground, and all of a sudden they fill up with water, and kids go diving into them and swim in the summertime. This quarry actually is one that he decided that he was going to bring a spur from Suncook Village up into the quarry, and he actually produced the curved cobblestone and bridge abutments. They actually had one of the first crushers in New Hampshire where they buttoned back the boxcars underneath and crushed into the boxcars, and they went out to the. So it's a very large quarry. The face of it is about 700 feet long, the height of it's 110 feet. We still have, on the property that we own, we're surrounded by, Allenstown aggregate. But, the part that we own, we still have about, if we wanted to get into the quarry operations completely, we would have about 21 million cubic feet of, granite to harvest. And that's just to get down to the level where we are right now. That doesn't mean we couldn't farther. And so we bought this, my wife and I bought this in 1992. Out of the blue, and after researching the history and the type of material that's there, we found that we felt that there was absolutely a good use for the quarry, and we purchased it. At the time we were running this company, Classic Curve, we had 20 some odd employees, and we did granite curve all around New England. And our thoughts originally were to make it, go back into production and making curve, but then we realized quickly that our, Swenson's and Fletcher Granite were 50 times bigger than we were, and that we would not really, we wouldn't succeed. So we put it on the back burner, and since I retired, about 8 years ago, I think I retired for about a week or two when I was bored, and we had this quarry. Took my wife up there, and she said, Andy, we've got to do something with this quarry. We have, to give you a little background on the quarry itself, when the quarry was developed, techniques in quarry were kind of primitive. They came up with this new material called dynamite, and they thought it was the magic bullet, and they blasted a lot of material, and their recovery rate was probably between 15 and 20% of all the stone that they took out. So very minimal recovery, huge grout piles. That's what we call the material that's left over. And now what we're doing with those grout piles, we're taking the material, and believe it or not, we're sawing off the top layer that's weathered. I should have brought a piece in, but it's heavy. But anyway, we're sawing off this top veneer piece, and it's the big thing in granite today is reclaim. It's the catchword for granite. Old granite curve, old granite at the quarry. And we have an incredible market for all these slabs. And then when we put the block on, and it's probably some blocks maybe this small, but maybe twice the size of this table, and a little wider and taller, but we saw this off, and then the rest of it, maybe the size we can saw, but we saw the top off, and then we just saw down and make landscape paving. And we have a really incredible market for this, and we've shipped the past year we shipped down to New York City, Philadelphia. We have shipped granite to Western Colorado. Someone was building a house at 13,000 feet, and they decided to put our stone on as the facade, the veneer on this house. And then we've also shipped stuff out to Seattle, Washington, which I can't understand. But no, seriously, it's crazy. But anyways, and so this saw has turned out to be really, really kind of the Kickstarter for the quarry. We sold a lot of wall stone and patio, just big, large blocks for landscape purposes and all. But now we're making some steps, and we're making wall stone. It's incredible what we've been able to produce up at the quarry. And we're really happy to be able to put up a building. At first, I was thinking about considering putting containers in with a hoop structure on the top of it. Many of my friends in the business said that's what they would have done, but I think I would really want a permanent building, something that we can use year round. And I want something that's going to be is going to be quality, and something that we can add on to. And that's exactly what we're going to be looking at, is adding on more, to this building, because the demand for our stone has been absolutely unbelievable. So I'm really pleased. And I'm also a history buff, and the Bailey family, Ben Bailey, Dick Bailey, were all very helpful with us when we bought the quarry. It goes, this quarry, I think a lot of people don't think about it, but it was really one of the largest job producers in this area. I think there were at one point 120 men that worked up there, and it had a lot of the modern equipment that we would have today with gangways and overhead cranes, and they had all kinds of air compressors up there with from one of the pictures I've seen, steel lines running all over like spaghetti. So it's a remarkable old quarry, and the people that come and see it are just, they're just blown away, because and I don't know, have any of you been up to the quarry?
Having that, a lot of people go after
Yeah.
listening to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, when people go in there and see it, and then see the head wall and everything, they're just unbelievable. And when we bought this stuff from Jim Wire and his wife in '92, and he told me how to get up there, and it was just it's called the art cart, and it really was. And so I got there, and I was literally 50 feet away from the face of the quarry wall. I couldn't even see it. It was so overgrown. It was so grown and everything. And so then after we said, we bought it, and then Jeff Eames did all the logging work and stuff there, and we saw what we had. It's like, wow, this is amazing. So what we've done now is we put the saw in, and it's really state-of-the-art saw. Can you pass this around?
Yes.
This saw, you think of a wire, it's a diamond wire saw, and it's probably, I think, wider than this room. And it'll cut a block 8 feet high, 12 feet wide, and it could be, as big as you want, because this saw runs on a track system. And so when we're cutting, the block doesn't move through the wire. The wire and the machine just cut right through the block. And it's just absolutely amazing to see. And the one thing that I'm really pleased about is the fact that it's extremely quiet. I mean, you can just carry on a regular conversation right next to it. And it's very fast. And we were told when we bought this that we'd need a lot of water. So we built this pond. And then actually we built another pond, because you take the water and you recycle it. Well, the way that we've discovered that we had to cut the blocks is different than anybody else. We cut these horizontal. We don't go vertical. We cut horizontally because the shape of our blocks are not really suitable to stand up. They're really awkward. It's really misshaped. And so we cut this off, and let me just, I can turn this picture around, and you can see the finished product as well. And so when we now take our water, plug it right into what we're sawing, and they estimated we'd use about 6 gallons a minute. And as it turns out, we probably use 1.5 to 2 gallons a minute, the way that we're doing it. The way that they suggested we do it was if you're going to cut vertical and conduct. We're not doing real huge production, but what we're doing is quality veneer work and stuff. And the other thing is that when I built the foundation, I was going off the manufacturer's recommendations on the gutter sizes and all this stuff. Well, I've got a foundation that, you could probably put a 400-ton machine on it when the budget. It was overbuilt. But I'd like to be able to say, I'm disappointed that we spent that much money on the foundation, but I would have been, if the reverse is, if I hadn't spent enough and we had problems, it would have been a folly. So, so we've got this beautiful saw, and now we want to put a cover over the top of it, a good permanent cover. And so the foundation's all in, and we're just ready to go. And you can see the pad there. you know, we meet the setback requirements, and then also. Like I said, the foundation is, you know, built for just about anything. So
are you using the saw now because of the weather?
yes, and it's, believe it or not, it's designed to be outside. That's how they designed it. And this saw, all the tracks, all the running gear, everything is stainless steel. Yeah, so it was designed to be outdoors. It's just that it wasn't designed to be in the snow and the ice and all that stuff. So,
Never knew they did was a Florida, so that you had access to it.
yes, we have a right of way. The quarry has we have two right of ways into the property. One is through Allenstown Aggregate. Actually, if you're familiar with the transfer station, the second exit, well, the exit out next to Allenstown Aggregate, that's actually our right of way. It was called Back Road. And before Allenstown Aggregate was there, we used that right through the town transfer station. But since they Allenstown Aggregate, we just have an agreement, you just go through their property.
And on that, I just want to say that's shown on your account.
From that one photo, it looks like you're creating giant pieces of field from shapes, and it's all irregular blocks.
Right.
Cut.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's just cut on one side. Yeah, so we're taking the veneer off, the top finish off. And then we're in the sod bottom. And then on some of the material, we have sod both sides, and then we thermal finish. Yeah. So we have a second right of way through it's called Quarry Road. And it goes right through Danny Clerk's property, right on Granite Street.
May I speak?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So what got us to this point was I've been working with Andy and you know, I first considered if a concrete pad needed to go before the planning board. Not a building, pouring concrete, maybe a landscape feature. I said, you can go right ahead and pour your concrete, support the saw, but please get it surveyed. If your next step is to put a building on top of it. And like we said, the saw is meant to go outside, but the operator, he doesn't want to work in the rain. And I saw the setup, and it's a unique setup, and runs off a diesel generator, and it's quiet. And the water to cool the saw is from one of those ponds, like he mentioned, so it's supportive up there. Now, I brought in the fire department for life safety as to what kind of an address, because now we have a building. If somebody needs a 911 call, and they chose 169 Rear Granite Street. So that would mean that everybody knows what 169 is, and that would be Allenstown Aggregate. But Andy is going to put out a sign there, of course, etched in granite. And an arrow to go up to his property. And as shown on here, yes, he does have an easement through the exit of the, highway garage. But of course, it's not overgrown and everything else. And he's got a great relationship at Allenstown Aggregate that he takes that road and goes up. And I guess there's no opposition to Allenstown Aggregate to add this additional signage, and there isn't from the town. The second thing the fire department asked for is a lockbox. That's basically a box outside the door that the fire department has a key so they can get into the building after hours or anything else. So I wanted to point those two things out.
Just for the record, you have agreed to do both of them?
Yes, in fact, I talked with Aaron today from Allenstown Aggregate, and he's all in favor of the signage because he has a unit, a building a little farther up from the road, and we will work together, he said, and we'll put up obviously large granite posts, and then he can put off signage for companies that are in that building. Because if somebody calls, you know, you don't know where that is, so we figured that we would just do the whole thing at once.
And lastly, gathering the information, you know. Andy provided here, he bought it in 1992, as he mentioned, in 1993 zoning board approval operated as a quarry. So, the operation may have predated the zoning in the town, which was, started in 1978, but he took the additional step to, not only was he grandfathered, he's now approved to do that.
But it's the building being greater than 1,000 square feet that would trigger normally a site plan review, is that typically correct?
Yes, before the.
Yeah. I think it's over 1,000 square feet.
Yeah.
It would require site plan review in accordance with the site plan regulations.
Yeah.
And the request is to waive that.
So that develops, we got the history, could you talk a little bit about the reason for the waiver, like the waiver request?
Well, the waiver request would be the fact that we've been established since, you know, 1993. And we've been operating the quarry intermittently in between and getting the access and everything ready to start operating the facility. And the area that we put the foundation in has been there for since we've been there, you know, so it's really and we just done nothing but really improve the whole area up there with the road and the access in and out of the quarry. And we, you know, I just feel that we've done, I wouldn't have gotten involved in this. We hadn't planned on doing it right, doing it the best way possible. And the foundation is structurally incredible, and I have pictures that I can, you know, I can document it from day one, you know, and considering you know, the location and the size of the building, which I don't think is very big, but you know, I just feel that move ahead with this, I'd like to do it sooner than later.
I'd like to add also, as one of your attachments, if the, you know, the abutters, you know, when you trigger, if you don't waive the site plan review, all the abutters will not need to be notified. They're all quarry people. There's no residential impact at all of this.
And you're well within the setback.
Yeah.
You've already been operating.
Yeah.
All the prep has been done. So if we were to have this, I'm kind of new to this, but I've been saying that for a year now.
That's fine.
So if we were to have a site plan, the criteria that we would be reviewing, what would we potentially add?
Be much more than what Mr. Herman has talked about, because he also, in addition to his own water supply, he also has his own generator. So we would not be looking at utilities or anything like that. So it would be a very minimal site plan review for us for this particular application.
So it sounds like everything we'd be reviewing is already met. So making him have a site plan review literally only.
Yes.
I have nothing to add. I pointed out one of the triggers with notifying the abutters. And he has a great report to his direct abutter who's allowing him to put up a sign, so I do not.
Okay, so if we wait site plan, the butters still get noticed,
No,
they don't get
Yes.
noticed. Oh,
yeah, it's not clear to me why the site plan is required. Here, I was looking at the requirements in Article 3, and I don't see which one triggers. The first one is initial development of multifamily site, second change of use. And the third is initial development of a commercial site on previously developed land.
It goes to the next page.
Yeah, but and then on the next page. Expansion of any aforementioned categories beyond 1,000 square feet. I'm not seeing an expansion here.
Well,
We have a foundation, 600,
But we're putting up a building that's over 1,000 square feet.
but you're not changing the footprint.
No,
So it's not clear to me that, I mean, if you go up, that you're expanding, there's no expansion to any of the functionality that's going on there. for the size of that process. There's an existing foundation, 1,600. Where
That's a clarification.
and you just put rain associated over the top of it. So to me, it's unclear.
Yeah, it's still a building. It's a building that can contain people.
Correct. I
For
couldn't
example,
give a-
life safety,
Yeah.
fire department, et cetera. People could be now trapped in that building.
I understand that, but I'm not saying
It's in
here
there.
that that's.
Mike, I couldn't give a building permit on a raw piece of land to build a building without review by the planning.
If you go to section B, it does say exempt site developments. And then the construction of an accessory structure or building on currently developed sites totaling less than 1,000 square feet. And then there's another one that says anything between 1,000 and 4,099, 4,999 feet would trigger a site plan review for a minor site.
Just to remind the
If
board,
they're otherwise in. But
I'm sorry, to remind the board that,
Great.
okay. At Sully's, that addition is less than 1,000 square feet, but it was mentioned at the board. So anything more than 1,000 new buildings, it's gonna go before the planning. board.
Yeah, I mean, so where I'm going with all this is because to me it's unclear and I would say we denied and I was. But in. The 4, when it's unclear if the project requires site plan review, and may request a waiver from the planning board. In writing in the site plan review process, planning board may or may not grant a waiver based on the merits of the waiver request. And because I believe it's unclear, and I think that right there is the trigger we're all looking for. I think we all. Well, speaking for myself, I mean, I would grant a waiver. My vote would be to grant the waiver and.
I think this is needed way to needs to be clarified.
I do respectfully disagree because in the document, an Article 2 minor site development, all site developments requiring site plan review, which involve the following, but not those criteria outlined in major site development above shall be processed as a minor site plan. Any developmental activity or combination of activities within any 4-year period results in the construction of any of the following, less than 5,000 square feet of new gross floor area, including accessory structures. That's the first point. So it does outline Article 2, it's on page 4.
I have a question.
Yeah, well, that's,
Yeah.
Or under minor site.
yeah, so my report to that is that if you don't. If you're not required to do a site plan review by the one of the 4 initial thing, you don't get it. You then don't subdivide it minor and major and kind of decide which one it is, because you don't have a site review requirement. It's like a dance thing, you don't have to
think that without a site plan review, we're depending on. Brian to make sure they adhere to all building codes. So that this problem with the construction.
Caitlin, what was your
Yeah, I'm
question?
sorry.
And you kind of actually just touched base on that, right? And then obviously the building inspector would be approving the building, but obviously when you have equipment that's made to be outside, and now you're putting it inside. Just making sure like the correct safety ventilation requirements are there, you know, for safe operation.
Oh, yes.
Just from the picture of the building, you know, it looks like a very nice shed instead of like nice bed.
Well, the thing is that, of course, you don't see the size of that. The sidewalls are 20 feet high.
Okay.
And to the eaves, and then it, goes up to about 24, 26 feet for the pit. And so, and we have the doors, well, for ventilation, of course, the doors are 14 feet by 14 feet. And so those are probably in the from this time on in the year, when it's in operation, they'll be fully open. And if it needs to, we'll put fans in. And I think we're gonna probably end up putting the ceiling fans in because we'll be heated in the winter time, and we wanna bring that heat, back down to the floor. Yeah.
And I'm assuming that with the water, it's a pretty dust free.
Oh, it's completely dust free. That's one of the, well, besides cooling the wire, that's the major thing. You can tell when the wire is not getting lubrication from the water because the dust is, it's like a big smoke screen.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, I really enjoy having people, that wanna come up and see it, and I didn't realize that they had an economic development team, as part of Allenstown, and I really should come up and see this, because at the rate that, the material that we're selling, we're gonna be expanding, so it's gonna be really nice.
I go first, sure, you know.
Oh, great, yeah, and, yeah, and, like I said, we could have put up containers with, the fabric, I looked at all that stuff. And, I mean, it just sounds crazy, but I would prefer to have a permanent structure that I'm paying taxes on than something temporary that, because I don't think this quarry is gonna be temporary, I think it's gonna be always, a quarry, even after I'm gone, it's gonna still be a quarry.
Committed to quality work from the beginning.
Well,
Beer
right.
and then
The thing is that the people that we sell to want quality. I mean, that's what they want, and when they come to visit, when the landscape architect comes to visit our quarry, I don't want to see, a tent over a saw.
Right.
I don't want to have them see junk equipment. I mean, we probably have, I don't know, $300,000 worth of moving equipment. And we'll have. And then, yeah,
talk back to your 20s.
and then, I mean, this building and size, whole thing will be over $250,000, but but it's worth it, and like I say, I mean, this is crazy, but we have a company in Montana that wants to buy our stone to sell on projects at Big Sky and all the projects they do out there. Because they said they don't have a good source of reclaimed granite. So there you go, Allenstown's done it. It is amazing.
Curious, to Mike and Brian's point there, it sounds like a site plan review would not require a whole lot more than what has already been presented. So what is the hardship that is presented with going to doing a full site plan review? I can ask.
The delay, the notifications of abutters,
Okay.
the legal ad costs. And ultimately, I'm involved with zoning board, butters don't show up.
Mhm.
And in this situation, I was like, how do I win it? All the butters are in the foreign business.
Sure.
So they're certainly not going to show up. There's a delay for his building permit to build the building. I don't know if there's anything more we can add. Can Matt Monahan add anything?
With regard to the other things involved with site plan, I mean, you'd have, I think you mentioned a good chunk of it, right? With the abutters, you've got the plans, he'd have to have drawn up, those kinds of things. I don't know if he's got an existing survey on hand. That would be something that would probably need to be part of the process too. Yeah. I mean, you guys are kicking around all the right issues and all that. I think it's just a matter of, running through it and seeing if the hardship is there and all that. But I think from a cost standpoint, Brian's got it. And then, the cost of developing the plan as well.
And you can see that he already had the surveyor do the plot plan.
Only on that specific full site plan would make it look like that horseshoe or whatever you want to call it. And where you're gonna put the parking, and where's the water? No water. Where's the power? No power.
So I just don't see a benefit here.
Where you gonna put this file? I mean, 40 acres.
You have a snow storage area, which is required on books.
So Matt, well.
Yeah.
all of that.
I mean, just listening to it as well, early on, I was curious about what's there now. It sounds like the pad is already there. I think another thing to think about is from the standpoint of a site plan, what would what would that inform the board of? If the footprint is going to be on that pad and the pad is there, what more would the depiction of the building get you? I mean, maybe traffic flow, those kinds of things. But I think those are things to think about as well is, what's the practical outcome of the site plan process?
There's so many commercial applications, we're worried about lighting, we're worried about screening.
Yeah.
All those other things, and when they're a closer proximity to other businesses and residents, but this is so far out.
And the abutters. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, lighting's a good point, the traffic flow. Those kinds of things.
Oh, we've got deer, we've got, and other times, yeah, and lots of them, yeah.
Any other concerns from the board members?
I don't think a site plan would be of any benefit to the property owner, to the town. We pretty much covered every aspect of this property. Essentially, putting a building on top of the concrete that's already there. Environment control, neighborhood grant, or try people. And it's way else to be had. It's not like this would be any development of regional interest.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, so it's like we pretty much covered all the issues, and there's no need doesn't seem like that pressing need to have a site plan to go with the information we have.
Anybody else?
In fact, it's unclear, there's a plan requirement.
I'm gonna look at that on the agenda.
We'll be on there.
Alright, so what do we need to do?
So at this point, if there are, if there's no further discussion or no objections, then, a motion to enter a request for waiver on the site plan review will be in order.
So second, all in favor?
Kathleen, I.
Mike Grant, I.
I trust it all.
Yeah.
Very good. And the request for waiver from site plan review is granted.
Great, thank you very much.
There will be a notice of decision that has to be issued just to document this, but it cannot be issued until I can get an address.
Oh, okay, oh, you mean for the court, okay.
911, okay.
Yes. Yeah,
If we're okay with 169 rear, you don't use that as an.
we have,
Yeah, confirmed by the.
I'll make sure you get an address for information, because they have to notify 911, be careful your feet,
Yes.
sir,
Yeah,
and your home,
well, need to see you get snared.
yeah, we want to confirm that.
Yeah.
So Andy, there's no further action.
All right,
The further action you need to do.
so here's the. This is actually the court,
You can't drive it.
and this is a picture of the house out in Colorado. It's built at 15,000 feet. By Bill? Or, but which town? Where in Colorado? It's on the second, the San Jose Mountains. Okay.
The south, further south.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and so this building. The contract has been working on it for 12 years. Because they can only work,
Well, 2 months a year probably. Yeah.
the driveway is 7 miles long.
Wow. Just think about plowing.
No, yeah, I did, I really. I don't want to think.
my address on
Put a
this.
sled down when I was a kid.
So beautiful.
Yeah,
A bunch of us snuck up there.
yeah.
And we were sliding, there's like a post and grab onto the right foot, sled went over the edge, which we did this year. It's 10 years old, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's, yes, it looks breathtaking.
You know, and the view from the top is absolutely incredible. Yeah, because, I mean, my wife and I would drive up to the very top, because we made the road accessible, and we'd take out a picnic lunch. And we'd go sit out on there and just look out, it's really amazing. Yeah.
You guys are so fortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, for here,
Much better. They just, we just take these rockets, put them in the little ones and, you do something else. Oh, yeah, it's nice. Yeah, but it's good. No. Yeah, because I remember you had some quarries down there. I remember, I saw that you guys highlighted down. And, make them done a good job with their facility, but, we're just kind of like this little business that's out in the middle of nowhere, but people from, I mean, like I say, I get a call just recently from a guy from Los Angeles. And we're gonna be shipping him from fireplace some rounds, so it's gonna be weathered, kind of irregular granite with the side pieces and the hearse. And, he's putting them in his drum. Yeah, but that, yeah, I mean, yeah, they think nothing of it. Yeah. Yeah, well, they want, you know, the funny thing is, this term replant is kind of all over the country. And it's from here in New England, and they don't have anything out there, you know, nothing like it, no granite at all. So, yeah, there's a few places that do have it, and we have it.
I think it's funny that we curse granite when we're digging.
Yeah.
And people, yeah, everybody else.
But we lost that, sure, I'm tired of I was trying to break it, do all that stuff, Scott. Creation early soil, granite slab, entirely under. So, yeah, above ground.
Yeah.
My propane tank, so can't really go in, there's not, there.
So,
All right,
with the approved minutes from March 05.
we need a motion to approve the minutes of March 5th, 2025.
So. Thank you.
All in favor?
Kathleen, I.
Trying to
Stay on this list.
Ryan.
Chad, aye.
Good, minutes are approved. Thank you. We have some comments, so we'll move on to Brian, anything from the building inspector tonight.
The McDonald's, you had a TRC meeting. A lot of emails going back and forth. They're wrapping up their application before the zoning board that would ask for relief. One freestanding sign is allowed, and it's going to be at roadside with the McDonald's symbol. It's not going to be a reader board, so it's not gonna flash or display anything. But then on their property, they're asking for 4 more freestanding signs to the drive-throughs that will be a reader board type that will change. So the ordinance in this town is reader boards need a variance, anything that changes. And the wall signage on the building is allowed. You're allowed 1 sign for each side, and I think it's a 4-sided building, they have 3 signs. And there's a lot of directional signs, one way, don't turn, anything else. I'll be getting a $35 fee, a sign fee, but it doesn't require any land use approval.
When did they expect to go before the zoning board?
I reached out to the chairman today and I said, I don't have a final application. As you know, it's mandated, you have to hear the case within 45 days.
So, They will not be before the planning board until that variance is over tonight, one or the other.
Well, that's whatever the planning board wants to do.
Because the planning cannot say the application is complete until they know whether a zoning variance is granted or not.
Well, I say it's impertinent a sign is added to a building. It's like adding a color
But
or something else.
cannot complete review on the application until they know whether a variance is granted or denied against the zoning ordinance.
Right, they cannot grant a decision, but they could hear the case if you wanted to, it's whatever you played it as.
Actually, up to the chairperson.
Yeah, which we hope to fill like.
We'll leave that.
Hey Brian, was there any more conversation with them and DOT about the pedestrian issues that were brought up last time?
No, I anxiously await that information and along with, the traffic report, along with additional escrow fees.
Yeah.
I did receive correspondence this week to review for the sewer connection.
Okay.
The sewer department engineer would like $10,000, roughly less than that, but a little less than that, but they have the camera, send a camera within the sewer main to ensure the integrity of the pipe out in the street. If I round it up, it would be $10,000. Meanwhile, the town's engineer would have to review the stormwater for this, and verbally, I got another $10,000. So the escrow that was provided is short, roughly $20,000. But the escrow account has been set up, and so it's easily can be added to. It went to the bank and all the approval.
Okay. Was there escrow set up for the review that I did or no?
It is.
Okay. Cool.
Yes.
All right.
We
Okay.
don't care about other people, but you want to get paid. I'll talk to the town administrator. Put that in the meeting minutes.
Anything else for the McDonald's?
A residential lot came up for sale, which is encasing the former deputy health officer's home, Debbie's, and it's 35 feet, or roughly 40 feet to the left and the right side of her home. It goes back like this. The topography is crazy, but it's residential zone. The next spot, that's, I just want to say commercial, but non-residential zone lot. There was some activity last year about that. Somebody wanted to put in Aroma Joe's, but once they see all the ledge that needs to be blasted out, as you can see at the Irving gas station, the rear wall, that kind of fizzled out. I've been receiving calls on this residential property, putting a commercial building on it, oh, you're not zoned for it. So anyways, I think that's all I have to have.
Sure.
Okay, next meeting is, April 2nd.
Second for now.
I do not see any, I'm sorry to add, I did receive an email from McDonald's saying they wouldn't be ready for the April 2nd meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't know of any other agenda items that would require a meeting on April 2nd, considering you're mandated to meet once a month. So you may want to.
We'll just keep it for now until on that, just in case something pops up.
Mhm.
We can ask.
Oh,
Ooh,
hey, Mike, just a reminder on the CIP, we need to nail down membership of the subcommittee.
Yep. Won't happen until April 2nd, until we know
Yeah.
this was our plan.
Yep. No, I just wanted to just mention it. That's all. So,
Thanks.
yep.
So we might want to plan on meeting April 2nd, just to hint.
Yeah, so with regard to the upcoming changes to personnel, So they will hopefully be approved by the select board this coming Monday. Which means then people have to sign the oaths and get sworn in, et cetera. It's probably easier if we meet on the 2nd to do that. And then one of you can sign people there, and everybody can sign their oaths. And at that same meeting, if you're okay with this, we can also elect the officers. And then, I mean, move on from there, and all of these positions will be adjusted. We'll elect officers, and then we'll have a firm grasp of.
Yeah, and then
Sure.
if the next meeting, actually, we have something, not that that is of substance, but if we have something
It would be nice to have all that done
Yes.
before, now we can.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, but I really don't see an applicant coming on the 16th would be the second or the third Wednesday of the month.
so
Because honestly, the McDonald's needs another TRC,
Yeah.
for as the planner, Matt Monahan said, just for the traffic.
and we need 12 days, a minimum of 12 days to do a public notice. Well, I was gonna say, you know, McDonald's would have to have all their escrow fees to us tomorrow. To be in time to do a public, to do a meeting, public meeting, wants to have a meeting second, so we're really looking at probably first week of May,
Yes.
sounds like.
As they said in the TRC that they hope construction would occur in the spring of 2026.
Okay, so we got.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, very good.
Do we know who the officers are going to be?
No, so what will happen is at the April 2nd meeting, once we've adjusted all the positions, then people can say they want to be chair, vice chair, and secretary, there are 3 officers. And then board will vote to select officers at that point.
So at the select board meeting, we're just going to be making Chad an alternate, and what's her name, Joanne?
New full member, Ryan. Yeah, so that's just the appointment part. Then you have to do the oath part, which makes it official. And then the board elects its officers in turn. The officers are not appointed by the select board. The select board only appoints members. I have 4 members for all. Yeah. Every side.
Is we have the ballot clock, so maybe they bring your sign.
Yeah.
Sure.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Fine, you're making a motion?
Yeah, I'll make.
Can I wait?
All in favor?
Kathleen, I.
Mike Durante,
Aye.
Right.
And we
Yeah.
are adjourned at 7:23 p.m. Thank you.
Thanks, Max.
Yep. Thanks, guys. We'll see you.
Good evening.
Yeah.